Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakaha, Kudash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the elect of the nation of Israel. This is your brother Ayash Kabar from the GMS Virginia camp, coming at you with another lesson that I pray that you find edifying through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai. And I'm on my way into the plantation, and I gotta say, call halal, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, for getting me to my destination safely and unharmed. And I pray that you other brothers out there who are doing the work in truth and in sincerely, I pray that you also make it to your destinations safely and unharmed, because we are definitely in some evil times, But, I just want to throw that out there for bros, to let y'all know that prayers are going up for you. This is an article out of ShitHitTheFanPlan.com, and the title of it reads, Trump demands peace plan response from Zelensky in days. So the scriptures say, when they shall say peace and safety. As a matter of fact, let me get it right quick, because, this devil is, he's on the move, The book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 1, I read down. But of those times and seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai so cometh as a thief in the night. The men of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai are standing upon their watch, waiting, to hear what Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai shall say unto us, what we're going to bring out for the elect, to learn, to know, For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. And like as the title reads, let me get that title again. Trump demands peace plan response from Zelensky in days. So, this devil is talking about peace, and we got to be circumspect of these things, Yeah, okay, they always say peace this and peace that, but we also have to bring out every time that they cry peace, every time they, want to, so-called qual things down, we got to bring these things out. But ye brethren are not in darkness, but that the day should overtake you as a thief. Yeah, so whenever this devil starts talking about this and that, we have to really pay attention to what he's saying. Not only what he's saying, what he's doing and what he's not doing. That's why, you got brothers out there watching every aspect of what's going on in the world. And filtering it through the scriptures, because we are not ignorant to Satan's devices. He'll do something on your left and, come from a totally different perspective to throw you off, so we got to be cognizant of these things. So going back into the article, I'm just going to read down a little bit. I don't know how long the article is, but I'll read down as long as the spirit allows. United States President Donald Trump has given Vladimir Zelensky only days to respond to a peace plan deal. The agreement would require Kiev to accept territorial losses to Russia in exchange for unspecified security guarantees. As long as you've been listening to this devil talk, he's always said that they're winning what's going on over there, They're gaining ground to what's going on over there. But this is clearly stating that they're not gaining ground. They're losing ground. This is clearly getting into the fact that they're losing over there. And they're going to continue to lose. So it is written, you know. The U.S. ruler submitted, again, I find it amazing how they re-specify what the status of the president is, and again, this is one of those cases. The U.S. ruler submitted a peace plan in November that reportedly called for Ukraine to withdraw troops from part of Russia's Donbass. Kiev currently controls that region, one of Moscow's key conditions for a broad ceasefire. In early December, the Russian Defense Ministry announced the liberation of Krasnoarmeysk, Pokrovsk, Slovakia, if I butchered that, a Donbass city President Vladimir Putin has described as an important bridgehead for further offenses. Previously, this region had been under Ukrainian occupation. The bullet point: the first step of Trump's peace plan has been accepted by both Hamas and Israel. Keep that in mind. According to a report by the Financial Times behind a paywall on Tuesday, citing officials familiar with the matter, one person told the FT, the Financial Times, that Trump was hoping to reach a deal by Christmas after previously wanting a deal by Thanksgiving. Trump did mention that he does have a specific timeline. Zelensky reportedly told U.S. envoys that he needed more time to consult with Kiev's European backers. Not long ago, the U.S. came out saying Ukraine's defeat is imminent and there's no way Kiev can win the war. The U.S. says, another bullet point, the U.S. says Ukraine's defeat is imminent. So not only is that defeat imminent, but World War III is also imminent. All of these things are happening at one time. Financially, the people can't afford to live day to day. Socially, everything is breaking down. Nobody's going out anymore. Nobody's enjoying this wicked mirth that, this wicked kingdom has gotten the people so accustomed to. I mean, the financial burdens, as I said earlier, the food is shit. The relations with other people is really starting to show itself. The love of many is waxing cold. People ain't giving a shit no more. And people are starting to realize that, all of this was bullshit anyway. But nonetheless, the prophecies will go on. The Russian troops have been making steady gains on different sections of the front line, while Ukrainian commanders say that they are outgunned and struggling to replenish the battlefield losses with new conscripts. So, this devil is just losing, And like I said, he's going to continue to lose. Another bullet point. The U.S. ruler, again, says Ukraine's demand for nukes and NATO membership is not reasonably possible. And that's another thing that's highly being talked about in the world today. Nuclear, missiles, defense systems, that could obliterate cities. They're talking about these things. These things are on the table. They said that they've always been on the table. And inevitably, all of these other nations are going to shoot their, weaponry towards Babylon the Great. So, these people are actually in a trick bag, because here it is. Yahweh Hashem Yahushua specifically said, when they shall say peace and safety, basically to worry. You know? And if you're not paying attention to what's going on, you're going to be had in derision. Let me finish out with this article, because it's almost done. While the Trump administration pushed for a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine, it is pushing towards a war with Venezuela. As tensions rise between the U.S. and Caracas, rulers seem intent on keeping certain wars going. Yeah, you know, they don't want that fire with Russia, because they know that Russia is also a superpower. They don't want that smoke with China either, because they know that China is also a superpower. And in their mind, they think that they can continue to bully these other nations. But what they don't understand is that Russia is going to be a guard onto them. Russia is going to come to their defense, which is something that they don't want. They need these grounds, but they don't want to go to war with Russia nor China. You know, the two major superpowers in the world today. They don't want that. So Babylon the Great is trying to tread lightly, but, you know, their skirt is being lifted. You know, everybody's starting to see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? They're saying it's for drugs, when in fact, you know, that country doesn't even import the drugs that they say it does. You know, it's all about resources. And it's always been about resources. This devil could give two shits whether drugs enter into the country, just so long as he get his cut. But these people don't understand that. But very soon they will, you know. Very soon they will. While, Salakia, will Ukraine agree to this deal? Why is the U.S. so involved in making peace deals with other countries while it commits obvious war crimes, and escalate wars it wants to get involved in? You know, yeah, Khan, you know, they don't. Let me read that again. Will Ukraine agree to this deal? Why is the U.S. so involved in making peace deals with other countries when it commits obvious war crimes and escalate wars it wants to get involved in? Because this devil is not stupid. He know who to fuck with and when to fuck with him. He ain't fucking with Russia. He ain't fucking with China. You know? And he damn sure ain't gonna fuck with Turkey. But as I said, or as the scriptures have said, Russia is going to come to the guard or the defense of these other nations that they've made agreements with. The BRICS. You know, so, hey, this is something that Babylon the Great didn't want. They didn't want this unification between nations joining with Russia. They didn't want this, because they work more greatly when everybody is divided. Because when you're divided, they're able to come in and break shit down based on that division. But when these other heathen nations start joining together and aligning themselves with each other, then it makes it more complicated for, you know, these devils, you know, the work that they've worked for so long. And that's control over division. Divide and conquer. It's a real thing. And Venezuela, hey, let me tell you, they start fucking with them Venezuelans. They're already talking about Russia and China having troops down there. They're already talking about that. But you're not hearing about that in the news, though. We live in strange times. No, we live in a time where Yahweh Hashem Yahushai is about to destroy this place. We live in a time where this wicked kingdom is falling and the righteous kingdom is being built up. We live in strange times. Let us hear your thoughts in the comments. I'm not going to comment on this, but I will do a lesson on it for the elect, the hopeful elect, to understand what time that they're in. And we're at the time of the end. Let me get a few more precepts and I'll close out. Let me see. The book of Acts. let me see, chapter 20 and verse 27. I have not shunned to declare unto you all the counsel of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. I didn't hide. We're not hiding anything from you in terms of what's going on with the scriptures, in terms of what's going on with prophecies, in terms of what's going on in the world. We're not hiding these things from you. But those who are in darkness will they will turn their backs to this information that's being brought out as if it was never told unto them, when in fact there was. These epistles are going to be a testament against them. Oh, I didn't know that was going to happen. Yeah, you did, because the prophets were out there on the highways and byways and you walked right past and you chose not to listen. You came across one of the videos of one of the prophets and you found it to be foolishness in your heart. So you clicked away at it. You had a family member tell you these days were coming, but you mocked at it. So, these epistles and, the events are going to be a witness against you in that day. You're not going to have any covering in that time. Because anything could pop off at any moment. At any moment. But the men of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai are looking forward to these things where we're not going to be caught out there. Verse 28. Take heed therefore unto yourselves and all the flock over which the Holy Spirit has made you overseers. The Holy Spirit has made the men of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, his prophets, overseers of the flocks, to warn you of small things like this. Either small or great, we got to let you know. Because even the small shit can escalate into something big. So Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai has made us overseers of the flock to warn you of these things that are coming. To feed the church of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, which he had purchased with his own blood. And that is the job of the prophets. To feed the flock with information. To feed the flock in the direction of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. To warn you of the times that are coming. And to also give you a peace of mind that Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai is a rewarder to those who diligently seek him. Hey, man. And so to those people who don't seek Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, hey, you're going to get yours. You are definitely going to get yours. You know what I'm saying? And when these scriptures come out, and when the prophets are out there on the highways and byways, a lot of people got a lot of shit to say. Let me get this last precept, and I'm out. I'm gonna close out. The book of Romans, chapter 3 and verse 3. For what if some did not believe? Yeah, what if some don't believe in the article that was just read to you, even though it was also filtered through the scriptures? What if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai without effect? Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai forbid. Let Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai be true, but every man a liar. As it is written, thou mightest be justified in thy sayings. And how are we justified in our sayings? By coming out of the scriptures. By using the scriptures as our filter. And linking them with the articles that the prophets of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai bring out. And mightest overcome when thou art judged. Because during the time of judgment, every man is going to be judged for what they did in the flesh. Whether it be wicked or righteous, you're going to be judged. And how are you going to be justified? Because the scriptures also say that there shall be men who shall be found with no guile. There are going to be men walking upon the face of the earth that's going to tell you the full 144% truth. But the scriptures also tell you that there's going to be men that don't tell you the truth. Men that don't warn the flock. Men that don't lead, the souls of their congregation in the right direction towards Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Anyhow, I just wanted to bring out that article, you know what I'm saying, because here it is. Wintertime, strange weather anomalies are going on. They just raised it. What is it? They just, hold on a second, let me get it because I just seen it. I can't get it right now, you know what I'm saying? I turn it on do not disturb, but they're fucking with the financial system again, either raising the debt ceiling or lowering the debt ceiling or something like that. But it's not a good thing. Food is, a lot of people starting to realize that, they've been eating 3D food for Lord knows how when, People are starting to also realize that the American dream is dead. This devil is starting to show his horns by getting mad over the fall of his kingdom, when in fact we had nothing to do with it. We don't write the laws and write the rules in this place. So, hey, man, a lot's going on, and Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai is doing the work. He's cooking this place from the inside out. So, call Allah Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. And with that, I'd like to give all praise, glory, and honors to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai B'Shem Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the elect of the nation of Israel. Shalom.